I've been thinking of ways for us to improve our podcast.
Okay.
I think the most logical thing is attend a fan convention for one of the biggest podcasts in the world, abduct the person behind the podcast, and then force them at theoretical gunpoint to teach us how to be better podcasters.
Like write a podcast script for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just give us the lessons that we need to learn. Like, can we get the Call Me Daddy girl and just get her to tell us everything?
Or the Hawk Tua girl?
Yeah. Or fuck, I'll take Joe Rogan.
Why not? And like, do any of them have a daughter?
Yeah.
That we could also threaten.
Because if we threaten the daughter, then obviously everything will be done very peacefully for a kidnapping.
Yeah, and we don't even really have to tie her up.
No, we can just handcuff them together.
Yeah, or just let her wander around the room.
Yeah, this seems like a great plan.
I think we're cooking.
I think we're cooking. I think if DCOM Duo's name is going to be in lights, and we will not face any legal action for our abduction.
Yeah. That was definitely us high-fiving and not fake high-fiving because we're across an entire table.
Good clarification.
Thank you. You have to explain this stuff when you're on a podcast.
Yeah. See, we're learning so much already.
Welcome, everybody, to the DCOM Duo podcast.
I'm Benji.
I'm Kelsey.
And we're the DCOM Duo
podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Today, we're talking about Dadnapped. Boo! Not bearing the lead, we don't like Dadnapped.
Why does this movie suck so bad?
We'll get into that, I'm sure. But yeah, it's certainly a movie that exists, and we have our opinions on it, and we both think it's just not fun to watch, and it's irritating, but not in an annoying way like a lot of other ones are. It is annoying, but it's just bad. It's bad and not a fun way.
Yeah, it's bad in a bad way that makes it just a slog ticket for...
Yeah. Which is wild. It's like in the range in our rankings where it's around the stuff that we're truly bored with, which I am bored by this movie, but it's nowhere near as boring as some of the stuff around it.
Yeah.
And it's also not offensive like some of the other ones that are near the bottom.
We're maybe a little harsh on this movie, but it's not good.
I'm not having fun watching it the whole time through, even though, again, it's not... We'll talk about it.
Yeah, and I, just for the record, I took the notes on this movie for this podcast, and I'm sitting there, and there were so many points where I'm like, I'm not even going to write down what they say because it's just pointless banter that's going nowhere, that isn't funny or plot relevant. It's just like, oh, yep, more of the fucking same is happening. It's just boring. So hopefully this is a shorter podcast and we can just go on with our day. Thank you guys for listening. Us be whiners.
Yeah. I apologize in advance as well if I seem extra loopy than normal because I'm coming off of some vaccinations that definitely have my head in not the perfect slate, but yeah, that will happen.
You got that double vax of the COVID and the flu, but here's the thing: we're not even close to. In 9 o'clock, is that when
10
we go?
o'clock.
10 o'clock. I don't even remember. We're not even close to 10 o'clock. It's like freaking daylight out. So we shouldn't be too loopy this episode.
This would be the time of the episode where we read fan mail if we had any. We don't, but if you want to change that in the future, you can email us at thedcomduo@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
Send us about anything.
Yeah. Okay. Let's get into the factos.
Cool.
DCOM Duo factos.
This movie released February 16th, 2009. It was the 74th DCOM.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was 10. I feel like
I remember this one coming out.
I do not remember this. Maybe like commercials. I never watched it though. And then I feel like they never re-aired it.
I feel like I watched it, and I don't think I would have watched it live, but I don't have detailed memory of my 9-year-old behavior.
I'm just saying, I don't think it was much of a success.
The director of this film is Paul Hone, who we have talked about many times already.
And recently.
Yeah. The DCOM study he's done is Luck of the Irish, True Confessions, You Witch, Eddie's $1 Million Cook-Off, Read It and Weep, Jump In, Cheetah Girls One World, Camp Rock 2, Let It Shine, Cloud 9, How to Build a Better Boy, Invisible Sister, and all 4 Zombies films.
So many high highs and low lows.
Well, I think this is his lowest.
This is definitely his lowest. Cheetah Girls One World did not cook either. Read and Weep did not cook. All the other ones I would say are pretty good.
I mean, I disagree on Cloud 9, but we'll get to that when we get to Cloud 9.
How dare you? Cloud 9's a masterpiece.
I also think True Confessions is a bit weird, and Luck of the Irish is arguably problematic.
We'll talk about those another time.
Those are for more interesting episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Getting into the cast. This is actually like such a studded cast for Disney Channel.
Yes.
Like in terms of actual like star power within here,
Lower.
Not as much as some other ones that we've seen.
When we say this cast is stacked, they were pulling so many Disney stars. There was like no original cast member pretty much. Yeah, very few. In terms of like the characters you see the most, they all came from somewhere on Disney Channel, which is crazy that this movie sucks so bad.
Yeah. The movie really just needs a better script because even the premise of the whole thing isn't that bad.
Yeah, and none of these actors even do a bad job.
No.
I think they're doing good with what they have.
I don't there's not a single performance in here that stands out to me as like, I don't like what you're doing here. I just feel like it's a bad script.
Yes.
And it needed some rewrites, and also maybe the physical comedy acting just either got dated really quickly or the choreographer for it did not find a way to make it funny.
Yeah.
Okay, but actually the cast. Playing our main character Melissa is Emily Osment.
Mm-hmm.
She got her start in Spy Kids 2 and 3.
I didn't know that. I never watched Spy Kids.
Yeah, you'd probably like Spy Kids considering you've watched every Disney Channel original movie.
You know,
they're very much same minefield.
That's fair.
Her most famous Disney role is playing Lily in Hannah Montana.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is the one movie that the Hannah Montana stars really got in. Not Mitchell Musso. He's in a few,
except for
this one.
Mitchell Musso is like the exception because he's in Hatching Pete. He was in Life is Rough.
And Miley's got her own thing going on. She's not in any of these. No, we should say this just to be clear. Hannah Montana, the movie, is not a Disney Channel original movie by our metrics.
It is absolutely not. It was theater released. That is not Disney Channel original.
Yeah.
It had a way bigger production than all of these Disney Channel original movies. Same with Lizzie McGuire movie.
Yeah. And that's not the vibe that we're going for.
And technically High School Musical 3, but we are going to cover that one.
That's mainly, though, because it's a sequel to Disney Channel original movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, no, it's wild how much the Hannah Montana cast stayed out of DCOMs, like except for this one.
All of like the smaller stars. Yeah. But yeah, she's had a lot of TV roles since, definitely like a healthy career. Most notable now is she played Mandy in Young Sheldon, and now is the lead role of Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage.
Yes.
The Young Sheldon spinoff. Young Sheldon, of course, being the spinoff of The Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's wild. And I never watched Big Bang Theory. I didn't watch Young Sheldon. I'm definitely not watching Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage. It's just like, hey, this spinoff did pretty well. Let's make a spinoff of the spinoff.
Honestly, it's so predictable. I should have predicted it for how popular Young Sheldon was after how popular Big Bang Theory was.
Yeah.
Like, why didn't I think that was a possibility? they're smarter than me.
Yeah. Emily Osment has just actually been around on like sitcoms and stuff. I remember her being on a different ABC Family / Freeform sitcom. I don't remember what it's called. It was about being like a chef or something. Yeah.
I didn't put everything down on her. I just thought those were some stuff. Also, I found out, and I probably knew this at one point, I forgot, her brother is Haley Joel Osment, which is kind of wild, but like makes sense because how many people have the last name Osment? And that's Haley. Also a child star. He was the kid in Sixth Sense, among other things.
Oh, Sixth Sense kid. All right.
Yeah. Famous child actor.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So they got a whole family of stars there.
I like Emily Osment. I think she's a pretty good actress.
Yep.
For like the roles that she does, like the comedy sitcom.
I don't know how much I would buy her in a dramatic role.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I haven't seen her in a dramatic role. Maybe she can surprise. But I think she is very much a successful like supporting character who can carry a plot.
Yeah.
So it's a good find. Playing the role of Wheeze is David Henry. We've already talked about him because he was in Wizards of Waverly Place, the movie, because he was in Wizards of Waverly Place. That's Justin.
That's his big role on Disney Channel.
And as of yesterday, by when we are recording this, he is now the main role of Wizards Beyond Waverly Place, which is the sequel series to Wizards.
Where he's has his own family, his own wizard family.
Yeah. He has other TV credits in like That's So Raven, How I Met Your Mother, some big stuff. He's more of a focus in our Wizards of Waverly Place review. Yeah. And recently he was a young Ronald Reagan in the Ronald Reagan movie that came out this year.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. Playing the role of Merv Kilbo. I can't believe that's his name, but okay.
Kilbo?
Yeah. It's Jason Earls. Jason Earls was Jackson on Hannah Montana.
Yep.
Notably, in Hannah Montana, he plays a 16-year-old, at least in the beginning, and he started the show when he was 29.
Yeah.
And it's
super old.
Like, the only thing I ever really think about Jason Earls is the fact that somehow that's not jarring. He's got, like, the weirdest face in the world.
He looked so young at 29. And he definitely, like, looks older now. He recently was in High School Musical, the series. Mm-hmm. And it's like, there's the older, like, 40-year-old guy. Maybe 50 now.
Something like that.
Yeah. He was playing a teenager into his 30s. Good for you, man. Good for you.
What's crazy is it didn't, when you see like a clip, it doesn't stand out as jarring.
Yeah.
It's just he's got one of those faces. He also started in Disney XD's Kicking It.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of these people, again, they're not huge stars elsewhere, but they were Disney Channel stars.
I only know him from Hannah Montana. So.
For someone who's not on Disney Channel, we had Jonathan Keltz playing Trip Zoom.
Wow.
Yeah. He's best known for his recurring role on Entourage. I've never seen Entourage.
Neither have I.
But that was big. He was a series regular on the CW's Reign. Otherwise, just various small TV and film roles. So I can't say I've seen him in anything else.
Okay.
Playing the role of Andre was Moises Arias.
Yes, another Hannah Montana.
Technically not main cast, but basically main cast of Hannah Montana.
He was in like most episodes.
He was in most episodes.
Yeah, he played Rico.
Yeah. And recently he also had a main role in the Fallout TV show. He's like the fourth most screen time.
Yeah, and he was in Ender's Game. That's what the like one thing I feel like I saw outside. I was like, hey, that's the kid from Hannah Montana.
Yeah. Other stuff he was in was like Nacho Libre, Pitch Perfect 3, King of Staten Island. So
fun.
Yeah. He's had a pretty successful career, actually. More than I expected. Just because I felt like I didn't remember him for anything outside of Disney.
Yeah, and he was in Disney Channel Games.
Mm-hmm. You want to talk about Disney Channel Games? A lot of these people were in Disney Channel Games.
Yeah, most of these people were in Disney Channel Games because they're all Disney Channel stars. I guess I don't really have much to say about it. It was fun, but I remember Moises, they like threw him up in the air because he was so small. And that was fun.
Mm-hmm. Playing the role of Sheldon is Denzel Whitaker. He's a former All That cast member, so Nickelodeon Disney crossover there.
Damn.
Yeah. Probably best known, he had an award-winning performance in The Great Debaters alongside Denzel Washington, who he was named after.
He was named after Denzel Washington?
And then ended up like winning an NAACP Image Award for acting alongside him, which is kind of a cool story.
That's so cool.
He has other credits, nothing nearly as big, but like in Training Day, Black Panther, The Purge, Handy Mandy.
Handy Mandy.
Yeah, he's done stuff, and he's still doing stuff.
Cool.
Playing the role of Skunk is Charles Halford, who had a very small role in Luck of the Irish. I didn't recognize the character name.
No.
But we'll see if we are like, oh my god, it's him.
Oh my god, it's Skunk.
Yeah. He's a long-running actor who has a lot of credits, but no role that I would like see is a breakout or anything that big. Mm-hmm. His credit list includes Walking Dead, Constantine, Logan Lucky, Rapunzel's Tangled Adventure, Outer Banks, other stuff.
Do you know who he was in Walking Dead?
No.
I'm looking it up. I used to watch that. This is saying he was in like the Telltale.
Oh.
Walking Dead. But I think he was also in the show. I don't recognize him, so I don't think it was a big character.
Yeah, I don't.
Either that or
I couldn't find anything he was a big role.
Or it was past the point when I stopped watching. So.
Playing the role of Maurice is Phil Lewis. We've already talked about for the Sweet Life movie, where he was Mr. Mosby, which is his most iconic role.
Yep. And
I'm not going to talk too much about that. He has a lot of TV credits, particularly within the Disney Channel sphere. And now he does a lot of TV directing.
Huh.
Yeah. Playing the role of Neil Morris, the dad who was Dadnapped, is George Newbern. He had a major recurring role in Scandal. That's what he's probably best known for. I haven't seen Scandal, though, so I haven't seen any of the Shondaverse, I'll be real.
That's disappointing.
Yeah. He was a core cast member of the Father of the Bride series of movies. So that's also some real big credits for stuff like that, even if he's not the star in any of that. And then he also, for a lot of the DC animated universe, he's been Superman. And in like a lot of the Final Fantasy Kingdom Hearts games, he's Sephiroth. So those are big characters in big series as a voice actor. So, yeah. Also, he was in the original Adventures in Babysitting.
Wow. Not
the DCOM one.
He reminds me a lot of Paul Rudd. I feel like he's knockoff Paul Rudd.
I could see it. I don't know if I'm going to think long enough to really give you that one, though. All right. And then finally, just mentioning as a brief cameo, the voice on the phone when Melissa's on a phone call for like 3 lines, Debbie, is Jennifer Stone, who played Harper in Wizards.
Yeah.
Because they just, I don't know.
It's so unnecessary. It's like, why did they bring Jennifer Stone in to be a nothing character?
I wonder how much she got paid for that. Yeah.
Maybe she was supposed to have a bigger role and they cut it.
I don't know. Yeah.
Like, who's Debbie?
Who's Debbie? Again, maybe I wonder if they were originally not going to have anyone say anything in the phone, but then they were like, this doesn't stage well without like a response. So, hey, you're already on set for a different show. Can you like read these 2 lines? We'll pay you like a couple K.
Yeah.
I don't know. Some fun facts.
Yeah.
This movie aired at the same time as the Nickelodeon original movie Spectacular.
Oh my God.
Is that why you didn't watch this one?
Yes, because I was watching Spectacular, which is the best Nickelodeon movie ever.
Yeah, well, this one got 39% more viewers.
Whatever. Y'all are just Spectacular haters. Spectacular is the best movie ever made. And I would love to cover it on this podcast, but we talk about Disney movies and not Nickelodeon movies. But maybe as a special bonus, we'll cover Spectacular because I love that movie.
Yeah. I feel like I've not really heard many times about a Disney movie and a Nick movie going head to head. So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot less Nick movies, so. Dadnapped Jr. novel, which is a book that was based on the movie, released with the film. Oh. So there was like a book.
Weird.
Yeah.
They did that with Descendants, though, didn't they?
Yeah. But Descendants makes more sense. That's way more of a series.
Yeah.
And way more lore and stuff behind it. And then finally, this film was put on hold briefly due to the writer's strike that was around that time.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe that's why the script sucks.
Maybe. All right. You ready for the Disney Plus description?
Yes. You can give me the Disney Plus description.
Emily Osment stars as Melissa Morris, the daughter of best-selling mystery writer Neil Morris.
True.
Instead of spending quality time with Melissa, Neil seems more interested in creating exciting missions and trip traps for Trip Zoom, the imaginary hero he's made famous in his books. But when her dad gets dadnapped by crazy fans in a real-life mystery, Melissa cleverly taps into her own inner Zoom and comes to the rescue.
Cool. I feel like we need to say this because it's an auditory format that we're doing here. Viewers at home, try and guess in your brain how Trip Zoom is spelled.
Probably,
you some time.
if I were guessing, I would say TRIPZOOM.
And you'd be close.
You'd be close, but not quite, because this guy is fucking weird, and he wrote Trip Zoom as TRIPPE.
No ending E.
What? There's not?
No.
Okay, I wrote my whole notes like that, and I thought because I saw it like that in the subtitles, but maybe I was just kidding. TRIPP, there's two P's. That's not that weird, but ZOOME, Zoom. There's an E at the end of Zoom for sure, and that's freaking weird.
Yeah.
But I guess it's supposed to be his name, so maybe that's why. I really thought there was an E after the trip.
I mean, you can look at the Disney Plus description, and I copied the cast where it says Trip Zoom the way that I spelled it.
Yeah, I probably was just...
It could have easily been weird. One subtitle was wrong, because they make typos in there
then
sometimes.
I ran with it.
You may have ran with it.
I put E's at the end of every trip except for the first one, which makes me think that it's actually no E, because the first one I wrote wasn't spelled like that. Whatever, it's not like you guys are gonna see it. It's just me having every time I read my notes say Trip Zoom, go, damn it. I wrote that bad. All right, you need to jump into the movie.
I am ready to Minutemen into the movie.
Yes, I love Minutemen. Too bad we're not watching Minutemen. All right,
maybe at the end of this episode.
Okay, so the movie opens up and a really weird pop song plays. Did you look into this song at all?
No.
I'm assuming this is Emily Osment.
I also assumed it was Emily Osment, but I did these factors before we watched the movie.
Yeah,
it's like talking about being on TV.
Yeah, it's not a very good song.
No, it doesn't really fit. But
no.
That's why we both think it's like one of the cast members singing a song, and the only one that would fit is Emily.
It's a girl singing. Yeah. So
she'd really be the only female character in this film.
Oh, it does not pass the Bechdel test. There's literally
no, Debbie. But they're talking about the dad.
They're talking about the dad, and she talks with her mom about her dad.
Yep.
I forgot she also has a mom.
Yeah. Is the mom even a named character? Probably.
I don't know. She called her mom. So yeah, no, this movie does not pass the Bechdel test.
At some point, that could be a fun little study for us.
How many DCOMs pass the Bechdel test?
Honestly, I'm very curious about that day.
I am too. We'll have to just go through and think about it.
Compare that to our ratings.
One evening.
That could be interesting.
I could. Might have to go back and watch the movie. I mean, we're already doing that, but watch some movies and be like, wait, did two women talk to each other? I don't know. All right. Anyway, back to Dadnapped. We're getting some intro shots, childhood photos of the dad and daughter, and there's some Trip Zoom books. And Melissa is packing, and she looks at a photo of her and her dad. I think her mom was in the photo too. And all of a sudden, Trip appears.
Oh my god, they love this device, which is again probably fine through most of the stuff. This whole movie, Emily Osment, aka Melissa, will just be able to see and talk with
Trip
Zoom just in her head.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you know what, it's a fine narrative device. I feel like none of these scenes really do anything that bad, but doesn't this also happen? Tell me if I'm crazy. Doesn't this also happen in Read It and Weep?
Yes.
Which is also the same director?
Yes.
Just saying. He's using his calling card.
But did he turn the camera at an angle and Read It and Weep?
Probably. We'll have to see.
Oh, okay. So then at school, they're presenting book reports, and one kid is like, I'm talking about the new Trip Zoom book, and Melissa's like, that's stupid. And the teacher's like, how do you do the report on the book that hasn't even come out yet? And he's like, I have an in with the printer, my dad works for the printing company or something.
I'm gonna give a pause on this. The whole like school, the whole class is super excited for this book report because it's a new Trip Zoom book.
Yeah.
Wouldn't they all be mad about spoilers?
I would be so mad because then the teacher's like, by all means, go ahead. And
Which
then,
I get, like, the teacher probably has to let it happen. It's a book report. But also, who does that type of book? It happens.
I mean, it depends what the assignment was.
Yeah.
Like, are you allowed to use fiction books for your book report? And also, his book report is just saying the plot.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of the joke. Is like it's supposed to be a
An
not
analysis.
good. It's supposed to not be a good book report because he doesn't give any kind of analysis. He just talks about the plot.
Yeah.
So anyway, the plot. It's like an action movie, and we get to see like Trip Zoom doing the action. Like it cuts away.
This is the only time we see this like as an action movie.
Yeah.
Which for how popular, again. Sorry, I keep having problems with the plot, but all of this is an exposition that people who are listening to this without watching the movie won't have known. I have issues with like little holes everywhere with this movie. But they don't really have a movie franchise or anything like that. I'm surprised that's not in development or a plot.
Well, they can't. Maybe in the sequel they would have covered that, but there's no sequel to this. Yeah, so I didn't really write down what's happening. He like saves a girl and he uses floss to save the day and he does some flips. And then him and the girl take a tarp and jump off a roof and use the tarp as like a parachute / parasail that like safely coasts them to the ground. Don't try that at home.
Yeah.
That wouldn't work.
No,
you would
it's
die.
very clearly it wouldn't work. It wouldn't work with one person.
No. Let alone
parachutes
two.
don't work how people think they do.
Yeah.
Especially kids.
Yeah, I literally wrote like the author, he's gonna get some kids killed because this is a very popular book and kids like to try out his weird little gadgets and stuff. And a kid's gonna jump off the roof. 2 kids are gonna jump off the roof with a tarp.
Well, if I know anything about this author based on the contents of this movie, is that he does like putting kids in danger.
Good point. All right, so then the report ends and the class is just clapping. They love it. They go, Trip rules. And Melissa talks to the poster of Trip Zoom and she hates him.
It's like, oh man, I hate you.
Yeah.
Grr.
And the teacher's like, what an amazing analysis. It's supposed to be like, that wasn't an analysis. So yeah, the point is that Melissa's annoyed. Now at home, Melissa on TV sees an ad for the new Trip Zoom book. And she talks more at Trip Zoom, who just appears sometimes. And then her mom comes in like, who are you talking to? And she's like, oh, no one. You ever see commercials for books?
No. I feel like we talked about that during the movie where it's just like, literally, I don't think I've ever seen a commercial for a book. And there are books that are freaking popular.
Maybe the only one I could think of that would maybe have a commercial is Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
I felt like that was all online ads.
Yeah.
Like the Pop Tropica stuff.
I was shown at school some like a little video of commercials of books for the Scholastic Book Fair, but that was a specific video made to advertise the books at the Scholastic Book Fair.
It's probably something along the lines of if you're watching TV, what you're activating, like reading a book seems so much harder and so much less like visually interesting that it's a bad medium to advertise in. Yeah. Whereas I think I've seen books in like magazines be advertised. It's an interesting. I wish I knew more about marketing because I would love to have a definitive answer on that.
I miss having the little Scholastic book catalog.
Shout out Scholastic Book Fairs.
I used to we would get the catalog for the books that are going to be at the book fair and I would circle the ones I want. And my mom would be like, all right, you get to pick out like 2 books. And it was so exciting. Oh, those were the days.
Those were the days.
All right. So then the mom mentions the camping trip that Melissa's excited for. But, her dad's been so busy with the book success. And Melissa's like, are you sure you're cool with me going? And she's like, yeah, me and your dad are divorced, but that's okay. Like, you can still hang out with your dad.
Yeah.
So
the mom's got a nice house. I think she got some money in the divorce.
Oh, she's getting book royalties for sure.
Which is good for her.
Yeah, good for her. I feel like the book definitely tore him apart.
Yeah. Considering he is not a good person
He's
in a
obsessed
relationship.
with it.
We haven't even met him yet.
Yeah. We will meet him though.
And right about now.
Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah. So dad's at the door and the mom answers it and he's hiding behind a Zoom cutout of the character. So they must have gotten like a model.
Yeah, I mean, he's on the picture of all the books.
Yeah.
And that happens for some book series.
Yeah. And that's who like Melissa's talking to the whole time.
Yeah.
So mom answers the door and she lets him in. And then at the table, he's just bragging about how many books he's selling. He says like 200,000 copies.
This is one of my biggest holes that really, I don't know why, this one I couldn't let go. He mentions that like the new books sold 200,000 copies. Mm-hmm. Maybe I'm crazy, but 200,000 does not seem like that much.
That's not enough to get you on the bestseller list.
Right?
No, I don't think so. And maybe they don't clarify this. It's just really
maybe it's like pre-orders.
It might be pre-order books. Or like this is how many it was on the first day. Like
the fact that there are multiple fan conventions for this book series.
Well, we only see one.
But we get told about others.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, we get told like the one that we see is a smaller one.
Yeah. That makes sense.
The fact that all of that exists is crazy to me if all he's selling is like 200,000 books.
There's no way.
There's no way.
It has to be more. That has to be like it was only the first day or it was pre-order or something. Like there's no way. Or do they honestly think that 200,000 is a lot for a book of this?
But then again, I don't know book economy. But like there's no way there's 300 million people in the US?
Yeah, if this is a nationwide book, which we're assuming it is.
We're assuming it is. It doesn't feel like it's just a local thing.
Or is it really just, it's really popular in this town because that's where he's from? I don't know. Whatever. So he's bragging to his ex-wife about how much she's selling. And in my mind, I'm like, she's just thinking like royalties. But honestly, she doesn't care. She's like, hey, maybe ask me about our daughter.
Yeah.
And how she's doing for once. And, try to be a better dad. And
that's like, I will, but he won't.
I'm Neil Morris, okay? I got this. That's my name.
Exposition.
I'm Neil Morris, father of Melissa Morris, all right? I got this. And then Melissa comes down and she's like, hey, Dad, you don't have to do this. And he's like, no, I'm all in.
We're going to go camping and that's all we're going to do. And it's going to be so much food.
Yeah. And then food? And then Trip Zoom appears and he goes, yeah, right. He's got a point. On the road, they're like driving in the car and Melissa's like, I doubted that this was going to happen a little bit, but I'm so excited to go camping. And Dad's like, oh, yeah, camping, hiking, river rafting thing. We might need to switch our plans. And Melissa's like, but I bought boots.
Yeah, you can't go back if you've bought boots.
I bought boots for this.
Dad.
What
the hell?
And he's like, no, we're going to do it. I just got to stop at this convention to meet my Zoomers.
One thing I do love about this movie is that the fan base is called Zoomers.
That's pretty funny.
That is a joke that has aged like fine wine considering the Zoomer terminology nowadays.
Pretty funny. He's like, I'm going to judge this contest and then we'll go. Just the two of us. And Trip appears in the car and he's like, I think he means 3.
Trip Zoom is such a witty little fella.
All right, so then they show up at the convention in this like small town and the whole town is excited. There's like, up on like lamp posts, they have little banners. That's like Trip Zoom on those banners.
Yeah.
Yeah, where it would say like the name of the town normally or like maybe the sports team or something. Nope.
Not that this town is big enough for a sports team.
Like local sport. I don't know. Yeah. I guess I'm thinking of the cities, but like,
But yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
I'm trying to explain what it is. And
the banister.
Okay, so the whole town's excited. Dad's like, hey, just one night we're going to be here and then we're going to go.
Yeah, sure.
And they go inside this hotel and people are all dressed up and there's a sign that says, are you Zoom enough? And then Zoomers incoming and they throw a bunch of stuff around.
The Zoomers are insane. They are unhinged. There is no adults really amongst them all.
No.
And I don't get how this is not more of a public safety hazard. there is, yeah. A couple important things to talk about the Trip Zoom fan base fandom. Number one, they all really like the books, but specifically not the characters or anything that you'd expect from a normal fan base. Instead, it's just all the gadgets and tricks and stuff.
Yeah, which is like the whole gimmick of the books is that Trip comes up with all.
It's like a whole MacGyver
gadgets.
situation.
Yeah.
Except it's always, this is the second important thing, dental related.
Yes, because they mentioned at one point that Neil used to be a dentist. Yeah.
So he knows his way around dental equipment.
And this is a book like promoting dental hygiene while also being like a spy gadget fun for the kids.
Yeah. Wow. So that's just important context to get out of the way.
Yeah. So then the hotel owner, who's Merv, who's Jason Earl, he welcomes Neil and he puts him in the presidential suite. And then Melissa talks to the cutout of Trip Zoom again. And like, honestly, it's always just the same stuff of like, oh, are you sure he cares about you? He cares about me more. And she's like, you're not even real. You're in my head. It's never interesting.
Yeah, it's just trying to do like, oh my God, you're my insecurities. Yeah. It's like, come on.
And then a kid on the phone. This is Moises there, so it's Andre. He was like watching them check in and stuff, and he's like on a phone now, and he says the package has arrived. And Wheeze, who's Justin from Wizards.
Yeah, David
Henry. He's on the other line, and he's like, "Cool, sounds good." And then he plays some Word Wham. You want to talk about Word Wham?
Oh, I do want to divert the podcast a bit to talk about Word Wham. Fun fact about us: we love board games.
Yeah.
I've recently got into like watching Scrabble content. Don't ask.
It's so funny. One day, Benji just came up to me. He's like, "You want to know what my weird new YouTube rabbit hole is? Scrabble videos."
It's pretty fun. I'm not gonna lie.
He told me unprompted.
It's pretty fun. So I'm just saying we can go from this from a kind of expert view. Word Wham is clearly a Scrabble ripoff. That's not. They don't want to use Scrabble in this. You can
like stack the letters on top of each other.
This game looks really bad. We only get like one clip of it. It's weirdly important to the plot, this whole game, but we only get like one clip of it.
It is a little bit. They mention it like twice and use it for the plot, and then it's dropped.
Yeah.
Basically. It's weird.
But yeah. I don't get what they were expecting. Were they hoping to publish Word Wham as a real game? Because again, it looks bad. The stacking letters, he puts like one letter on. He's playing with himself.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's all these different colored pieces, and you're just trying to score points on words, and it's clearly just Scrabble, but they had to show something else. Who in the prop department made Word Wham? I feel like they could have done less effort on this for, again, like a 2-second clip.
If only this movie was made now. Just kidding, I don't wish that. But they could have used Wordle, unless that was copyrighted too.
They don't want to risk anything. They want to show that they have this unique hobby together, even though, yeah. Word Wham, kind of stupid. That's all I have to really say. And I don't like how they reference it later on. They're like, oh my God, that's this many points in Word Wham as they're flirting with each other. It's dumb. No one talks like that.
True. All right, so then Neil and Melissa get to their suite, their presidential suite, and it's not very impressive.
No, it's bad, but this is a bad hotel, so.
There is a lava lamp.
There is a lava lamp. But Dad likes that.
Lava lamps are pretty cool. Have you ever had a lava lamp?
Yeah, I think so.
I never did.
It sucks to suck.
I'm really sad about it.
You could go out and buy one. They're not expensive.
It's not the same.
How? How is it not the same?
Because I'm not 13 in my lime green bedroom anymore, Benji. It's not the same.
Skill issue.
That night, Neil is talking with his fans, and he runs into this big guy, and his name is Skunk. And he has dark hair with the white in the middle, like a skunk. It's
Why does everyone have nicknames in this?
Because that's how he does his hair.
Yeah, well, I'm saying Skunk makes enough sense, but so does Wheeze and...
That's the only nickname. That's the only other one.
Okay, well, 2's enough. Why you call yourself Wheeze?
Wheeze. Maybe he has asthma.
That would be rude.
Yeah, we never learned his real name. He's Wheeze. Why did they? Yeah, if they were gonna give one of their main of the three guys a nickname, they should have all had nicknames.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever. Anyway, they say floss. I just write down anytime they say floss.
They say floss a lot. That's the catchphrase.
Floss.
It's the dental theme and everything. But for some reason, whenever anything happens, people just go floss.
Floss. Skunk goes and shows Maurice he got his book signed by Neil, and Maurice is his brother, and that's Mr. Mosby. And Maurice is like, calm down. And then Melissa's there in the room and she's not into the vibes. And then one guy talks about the contest. You have to be Zoom enough to win the contest. And the winner gets to be a character in the new book and they get an advanced copy.
Wow.
So that's a pretty cool prize.
Yeah. But also I feel like that's selling out your artistic integrity. But that's just
maybe he's like already planning to make a character and he's just going to name it after the winner.
Yeah.
And
make him a surprise villain that's like evil and not in a fun way.
Oh no. And then they go floss. And then Melissa goes up to bed.
She's just like, okay, next day it's time to leave because that's what I got promised. And my dad has never lied once in his life.
Melissa tries to make plans for dinner and the dad's like, oh, this is a great idea for my book. What, honey? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm a writer. I always got to look for new material. Trip is real to me.
Yeah.
So he just like is constantly thinking about Trip Zoom and he doesn't actually care about his daughter. But then
I get what they're trying to do here because there are people with writers who it's just like you get the inspiration as you're out and stuff happens. But also, no.
This is supposed to be a trip with your daughter, and instead of taking her camping like you promised you would, you took her to a convention for your book.
Yeah.
And you're talking about writing for your book instead of listening to her. He's not a good dad.
No.
Right now. He's just not. But then dad's like, you know what? You should pack. I'm going to pick a winner quick, and then we'll be on the road by noon. And she's like, you mean it? And he's like, yeah. And then we see the clock. You know,
switch all the way to 1 p.m.
1 p.m. It's definitely past noon, and he's still doing the contest.
But it looks like he's gotten out, and it's going to be like, I'm going to leave.
Yeah, Melissa's like in the back, and she's, waiting, and Neil is like, he's talking about the contest, and he's like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying right here. And it's like, what the fuck, my man? And then Melissa talks to Trip some more. And is like, he's lying. He's not going camping with you, whatever. And then she runs into Wheeze. And he's like, word wham. And she's like...
she calls him a Nimrod. He's like, that's 14 points in word wham.
And he's like, you play word wham? Or no, she's like, you play word wham? I'm a whammer. I've won contests and shit. And they're like, yeah, it's all about the vowels and word wham.
The brief stuff that I saw, I feel like that would not be the strategy, but you do you, boo.
Yeah. So they're like kind of flirting, and then he's like, I gotta go, and she's like, good. And then Andre comes in and he's like, you get those digits?
He's like, what?
He's like, no, I did not. And Andre's like, you're lame. I can't believe we're related and we're brothers.
I totally would have wooed that girl, that hottie.
Yeah. Okay, and then so they're doing the contest, and one of the gadgets that someone made like flies around and causes a goop.
Yeah, it like explodes a watermelon and stuff.
Goop.
This movie is the most goop movie of a DCOM.
It's
and
the
also I've ever seen.
It's the goopiest movie I've ever seen because they use goop as like their core climax humor.
Yeah, which as much as we talk about goop, we don't like a goop joke. It's rare that we like it.
It's very rare. The reason we like point out these goops is because it's so
weird how often it happens.
It's weird how often it happens, and it's so like unfunny.
Yeah.
And they're like putting so little effort in to being funny that they're like, look at this goopy face. They got goop on their face.
Oh my god, that's like a liquid that I don't know what it is.
That's funny for the kids. Let me tell you, they love goop.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's Goop. And then Andre Weezen, the third guy.
Sheldon.
Sheldon. I didn't know his name yet. They didn't say his name yet. But so it's Sheldon. Andre Weezen and Sheldon talking walkie-talkies to start their plan. And they put onions in this machine. And we'll find out what that is. They're like making it stinky.
Okay. Out of all of the gadgets and stuff, which again, the core loop of this movie is someone does something from a Trip Zune book. Everyone reacts. Someone gets gooped and rinse and repeat.
Yes.
Out of all of them, this is the one that I'm most interested in because it actually seems like, without my knowledge on it, somewhat possible. Mm-hmm. And this is the most interesting one there. I want Mythbusters to test this one. I don't care about any of the rest. That's what I'm saying. Exactly. What this is they have a bunch of onions. Where do they get the onions? I don't know.
They bought them.
Yeah. Okay. They have like a device in that will cut all of these onions.
Does it cut it or does it juice it or does it not matter?
I don't know.
It's getting them cut up somehow.
Yeah, it's getting them diced. It's getting them split.
Yeah.
And there's like a big vacuum attached to it.
Well, not a vacuum. It's like a blower.
Yeah.
It's like an air conditioning unit.
A vent.
A vent. Yeah, in a tube. And they put it in the room, and then the fumes of the onions fill up the room, and people have to leave because it's so smelly.
It's making their eyes water.
Makes their eyes water.
And the three not bad guys, not good guys, the three kids are wearing glasses and nose plugs so they can see and act in there. I'm like, that actually seems weirdly possible.
Yeah.
I don't know how strong it would be, but I want to know if that would work.
Yeah, no, it's interesting.
Someone try it out and get back to us.
All right, so then outside, Melissa is on the phone, and I thought she was talking to her mom. This could have been her mom. Instead, she's talking to Deb, who's Jennifer Stone, as we mentioned. And she's like, oh, yeah, camping's awesome. And then there's a car horn, and she's like, and there's a car horn. He did it again, didn't he? I can't believe this wasn't her mom.
It's weird that it's not the mom. Maybe she hung up on her mom and called Deb after.
But then why is she lying to Deb? Why is she like, first off, we don't know who the fuck Deb is.
No, it's not important.
We've never mentioned a Deb before. And she's like, oh yeah, Deb, I'm out camping right now, and it's so awesome. And Deb's like, he did it again. Like, she knows about how awful her dad is. Whatever. Inside, everyone's coughing and leaves because of the onions. And Andre ushers Neil out. Yeah,
they take him out the back exit, even though everyone else is going out the front exit. And definitely not Sketch. Definitely not getting kidnapped.
Mm-hmm. Maurice and Skunk see this happen. And they're like, no, that's our guy. And then Melissa yells at Fake Trip again with the angled camera that I mentioned earlier. Like, you put the camera at a 45-degree angle. And
suddenly he's there.
Yeah. And then she sees everyone leaving and she's like, dead? And then Neil is taken to the weird machine and we learn it's the tearjerker.
Oh my god, it's something from his book.
It's from the book.
He's like, that's so cool as the kids continue to abduct him.
Yeah, he's like, I want to meet the fans who made it. And they're like, you just did. And then they kidnap him.
Yeah, they throw him in the back of a van, tie him up in dental floss. And start torturing him.
They drive away and Skunk cries and Maurice is like, don't worry, we're gonna get him. And Melissa's like, where the hell's my dad?
Yeah. So the dad's kidnapped. Mm-hmm. You probably think this would be taken pretty seriously, right?
It's not. Around back, Melissa and all the other fans, like, you know, Merv is there and they find the machine and Melissa's like, I really don't care about this machine, where's my dad? And then she sees the security camera and she's like, hey, Merv, can we look at the tapes? And so they go in and they look at the tapes and she sees that the kids took her dad. And so she calls the cops. And oh my God, guys, guess who the cop is? Cameo alert. I don't know his name. The coach from Double Teamed / principal from High School Musical is in this movie.
He's not even credited. When I looked on the Wikipedia, his name's not on there.
That's crazy. It's definitely him, right?
Yeah, I feel like it has to be. Yeah.
We clocked that. So fun. He's the cop in this movie. And
he's such a good cop.
He's so good. She's like, hey, my dad was taken and he's like working on like a house of cards or something. I don't remember. He's like doing a little diagram project thing. And he's like, oh, your dad is Neil Morris at the hotel for the convention thing. Well, I've gotten a lot of weird calls today from that weird convention. So it's just stop bothering me.
Which part of me wants to be like, that's a good excuse. But another part is like, no, this is an abduction that's actively going on.
You keep getting calls about this convention and you're ignoring all of them. Maybe you should
send
go
a
check
cop
it out.
down there and be the parental guidance that it desperately needs.
Maybe you should be like helping secure that this is a safe event.
You don't want to be a footnote in a tragedy.
Yeah. And then he's like, hey, your dad's taking, you have to wait 48 hours.
This is something that's propagated by media. If you don't know, this is in a lot of like
tons of media where it's like you have to wait.
False.
You have to wait 24 hours. You have to wait 48 hours.
It's just a plot device that lazy writers use. You do not need to do this. If someone
if you know they're like missing.
If they're missing and you have reason to believe they are missing, go
call the fucking cops.
Away.
Call the cops. And they should help you. And if they don't,
listen
they
to
suck.
this movie.
Don't listen to this movie.
Don't watch this movie.
He's like, if he's still missing after 48 hours, then you can file a report. Like, fuck this guy. And then at the angled camera, Melissa yells at Ghost Trip again. And Trip is like, you have a chance at being me. And Melissa's like, I don't want to. I hate you. So go wrap a guy in floss or something. And Trip's like, you're just not Zoom enough to get Neil back on your own. And Melissa's like, this is the real world. And I shouldn't have to do that. Trip is like, well, that's why he writes about me and not you.
Ooh,
damn.
Burn.
All right. So then in the van, Neil is gagged and they're like just doing donuts.
Yeah.
They're just
they put a dirty sock in his mouth because that's what Trip Zoom did once, apparently.
Yes.
Skunk and Maurice like tailed them as following them.
Yeah, they're just watching.
They like stole a costume wardrobe department van.
I think that's not just theirs.
No, I'm pretty sure they stole it.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I thought they'd like that was their side gig.
No, I think they stole it.
It's not actually important. And I think like Skunk wants to be a writer. We learned this later to be true. He's like trying to write something right now. I don't know.
Yeah. He's not good at it.
Yeah. And then they're like grab some duct tape and they're like get ready. And then Skunk runs out and hides behind a tree. And back to the kids, they're like, hey Neil, you think this is Zoom enough?
Yeah, they're doing this all to win the contest.
Yeah.
Which I'm mad about because it works.
Well, they keep doing like Zoom stuff and Neil is into it. He's like, this is so fun.
These are psychotic kids who have abducted a human being and are literally torturing him. Why is he into it?
Because it's for his book.
Yeah, I know, but I can't live like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So they used mint floss to tie him up because it hurts.
Yeah, it stings.
Yeah.
Menthol.
Ooh. And then they shove the sock back in his mouth and they drive away. And then Skunk gets hit in the head.
Classic.
This movie's so good, guys.
It's got some slapstick humor.
This movie's so good. All right. And Melissa runs out of the hotel and sees Ghost Trip again. She sees him all the time, guys. And I don't write down what they're saying because it's never interesting.
Just imagine he does a quip about, I'm so much cooler and better than you. You can be like me.
And the camera's at 45 degrees. Cool. Then Melissa calls someone and I'm like, oh, she called her dad. So this is how I took my notes. I'm like, she's calling someone. Oh, it's her dad. The kids see the phone and they're like, no, you can't answer it. But then Neil's like, no. But
remember the time in the book when even the evil guy got to do a phone call?
Yeah, it's my daughter. I have to answer. And they're like, okay. So then he answers and he's like on speakerphone. And Melissa's like, what the fuck, Dad? And Neil's like, it's not my fault. And then the kids are going, floss, 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 floss. And then Wheeze is like, calm down. And Melissa's like, oh my God, it's Word Wham guy.
You Nimrod.
And he's like, oh my God, Neil Morris is your dad? Like, I'm more attracted to you.
Oh my God, you're so fucking hot.
Yeah. And then she goes, you're ruining my vacation. And Andre is like, ooh, feisty. And then Melissa hears a guy go like, do you want this scent or this scent? And they're at a car wash, and she hears that and figures out they're at a car wash. So, ding, ding, ding. At the car wash, Sheldon's cleaning the car, and him and Louise see Melissa rolling up with Merv, the hotel guy. So Merv just agreed.
Merv is like, yeah, you can take my car to find it. I mean, it's like, also the guest of honor.
That's true. We don't see her ask him for a ride. We just see them roll up together. So like, oh, okay, I guess he's like driving her around.
Also, I don't think she can drive. And she doesn't have a car.
Exactly. So, no, she had to get a ride somewhere. But, yeah, I guess Merv makes enough sense. And so they see them rolling up. They're like, dang it, she found us. And then Sheldon's like, let's do a toss and wash. Which apparently this happened in the book. In the Trip Zoom book.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make sense. So the Melissa and Merv are in a convertible with the top down. And they get out, and Melissa's going to look around. Apparently, they park right in the entrance of the car wash.
Pretty silly.
They're blocking the entrance.
Yeah.
What the hell?
It's so that they could set up that the three boys leave their kidnappee hostage and push the car into the car wash, which goes way better than expected.
Yeah.
We should mention also Merv is on the phone talking to someone. I wonder who that is.
And then, yeah, the kids push the car in the car wash, and Merv's like, no, my car. And then Melissa gets in the car, but she doesn't know which pedal's the brake.
She's like, which one's the brake? And doesn't do anything. And then they go through the car wash when it was extremely avoidable. They could also hop out and not get completely washed.
Yeah, but they just stay in, and then they go through the car wash, and they come out, and they're very sudsy. And I'm like, guess this is goop?
That is a goop.
It is, because it's played for comedic effect.
Yeah.
It's just very clean goop because it's soap.
It's bubbles and stuff. But it is goop. Bubbles are goop.
So, and then they get out and she's like, I found the brake. So that was so funny.
But she's like, man, is there any hint or anything that can help me realize where they're going? Oh my God. Is that a Word Wham book?
Word Wham book.
She goes and finds it in the parking lot.
And then guess what? It's a library book.
And guess what? It's due today. Man, so they must be going to the library.
Yeah, and then Maurice and Skunk are watching, and they're like, this girl's going to take us to her father. So they're just banking on her figuring it out, which is pretty smart.
Yeah.
All right. So then in the van, Andre's looking at like Neil's picture in the book, you know, where it says like info about the author. And he's like, your nose is smaller in this picture.
Like a lot smaller.
And Neil's like, hey, it looks like that library book is due today. And
it's like, they're like, yeah, so
whatever. And he's like, you know, you have to pay a fine every day that it's late. Are all these books due? And they're all like, shit. And so they turn to go to the library.
This should not work. This is a stupid plot device.
So they were just going to keep the books. They're like, we don't want to return them. And they didn't know about the fines.
Yeah. It was also dumb because, like, if they were good guys or bad guys, how lucky is it that not only do they have books that are due, it could have been these books were taken out at different times, and the Word Wham book that needs to be turned in was on a different date. So very lucky that they're all like, oh, we all have to go to the library. Mm-hmm. So every person in the movie is going into the library now.
My theory is just that they knew this contest was coming, so they checked out every single Trip Zoom book at the library to prepare for their little thing. And then he also got a Word Wham book on the same day. Anyway, so now they're heading for the library. Everyone is. And Skunk keeps trying to write. And Neil tries to reason with the kids. He's like, you know, the other fans are waiting for us. And Wheeze is like, okay, here's the deal. If you show us the book splat Trip Trap, we'll let you go.
Yeah, they really want to see the book splat Trip Trap. They want nothing more in life than to see the book splat Trip Trap.
Mm-hmm. Cut to Neil showing them the book splat Trip Trap in the library.
Y'all want to know what the book splat Trip Trap is?
Yeah, you put some goop in a book, and when they open it, they get gooped.
Yeah, you put the splat in the book to trap the trip. And they're like, okay.
I wish they leaned into this more.
This is where the comedy would be.
Yeah.
But they're like, okay, I'm gonna show you this. You like destroy this book, and you put the trip trap
in the splat
in the book. the book splat trip trap, and then you're like, hold it tightly and put it on the shelf.
And then Trip does
and
a
the
little
next
trap
person to open
splat.
it's going to get gooped. And of course, who comes in but his daughter, Melissa.
She just goes over to the book and she's like, what's this? And then she opens it.
Why did she open it?
She gets gooped.
She didn't see them set it up.
I don't know.
So she got book splat trip trapped.
Yeah. And also Skunk and Maurice are like, let's get in disguises.
Yeah, they're like, oh, we're going to pretend to be cops.
Yeah.
Because that's legal.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know why she opened the book. She sees them like put it on the shelf, and then she goes and opens the book and gets scooped. And it's like blue goo. Yeah.
So that's our third gooping already.
Yeah. And Neil's like, oh my God, you found me. We're having a blast. These kids are awesome. And Wheeze is like, hey, we got off on the wrong foot. Maybe you could lighten up. And Melissa's like, no, you're supposed to be having fun with me.
This is literally my vacation, and you're out here getting kidnapped and being happy about it.
And then Wheeze is like, hey, you smell nice. And she's like, oh, thank you. It's my lip gloss. It's strawberry. It's so out of nowhere, like the worst flirting you've ever seen. And then she's like,
it's because they want to call back to it later.
I know. It's so they had to shoehorn that in somewhere where it's like, oh, he knows what lip gloss she wears.
This script is not tight at all.
It sucks.
Again, I think no actor in here is doing a bad job. Maybe none of them are exemplary, but whatever.
It's the writing. It's not them.
Yeah. I feel like we've seen enough of these. One thing I really like doing this podcast is feeling like despite these being fucking Disney Channel original movies, I feel like my knowledge of filmmaking has gone up a lot by just forcing myself to talk through scene by scene through all of these and figuring out what works and what doesn't. I'm like, the directors, the cinematography, everything there, mostly is fine. It's really a script issue. And I guess like none of the physical humor landing, but that could also be a personal thing. Mm-hmm. It's really just nothing in this script is tight.
Yeah.
No character has the right reaction. Mm-hmm. And that's not because of an actor's choice or even really a director's choice. It's a writer's choice.
Yeah. All right. So then they go. Neil's like, sorry, guys, I gotta go.
Floss.
Outside, Dad's like, I'm sorry, it was just a game. It was funny. And Melissa's like, you just don't get it. I've been waiting for this for so long. I want it to be perfect, just you and me. And Dad's like, me too.
That's something to say, Dad.
Bullshit. And then Melissa's like, well, that's great. But then, you know who always comes and ruins it?
That's like, but Trip's a fictional character. How's that even possible?
How's that possible? He's just fictional. And Melissa's like, no, he's not. He's a pain in my butt.
You just had a fucking convention for this fictional character.
Yeah, he's like, he can't get in the way. He's not real. It's like he's literally consuming your life and conversations. This guy, the dad's fucking He sucks.
He sucks.
Okay. So then the fake cops come over and they're, Skunk. He's like, I'm Officer Skunk, and he arrests Neil. And then Neil's like, wait a minute. I know you guys. You're from the hotel. You're not cops. Which, good job. Remembering them from the hotel, but they could have been cops, just not in uniform before. But he's like, you guys aren't real cops. And it's just like, yeah, it's pretty obvious they're not cops. And then they try to handcuff Neil. Like, Skunk was going to handcuff him to himself, I guess. Like, Neil
says, you can't leave me.
Yeah. But then Melissa's like, oh, no, you don't. And she handcuffs herself.
They don't take this whole threat nearly seriously enough. It's all kind of done as a bit. Maybe because they just did another kidnapping that was a bit.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, it's just happening again. But no, their lives are in danger here. And she's like, I'll just make our survival chance worse.
Yeah. No, it's pretty stupid.
Yeah.
She handcuffs herself to her dad and she's like, what? I just got you back. And then they get put in a van. And the three kids see them being taken and chase after them. And Sheldon tries to call the cops again. At least they do try to call the cops. Mm-hmm. But the cop thinks it's a prank call because there's so many calls about Neil Morris being kidnapped. He's like, I've gotten so many calls about Neil Morris being kidnapped. And it's like, my guy, You've had so many calls and you're not taking it seriously? Why does the cop think everything's a prank? Cops are
maybe we're missing people at the rest of this are just literally doing nothing but doing 911. Hi, this is a fake emergency. Blah 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 blah.
You still have to take every single one seriously, though.
Yeah,
as a cop.
I know. I'm not giving a good justification.
So then, guess it's up to us because the cops fucking suck. So now it's nighttime. They roll up to Motor View. Motor View.
I don't know. That's
like
that
the
is.
Sign. It's really creepy here.
It's just like an abandoned hotel
/ drive-in movie place.
Drive-in motel, maybe. I don't
know. They bring Neil and Melissa in. It's like their hideout. Nobody lives there, so they crash there. I wrote weird kidnapping vibes. So just imagine that, I guess. The 3 kids outside try to make some spy gear, and they're like, too bad we don't have the Zoom books anymore. And Sheldon goes, hey, they were overdue.
Yeah.
And that was the one joke I found funny.
Liked.
Yeah, that was the one joke I found funny where it's like, well, if only we had the books. Hey, they were overdue.
We had to turn them in.
The one time this movie was funny. And they're like, it's okay. We know those pages inside and out. There's a trip Zoom solution. We just need to find it.
Because you can only do solutions based in a fictional universe. Yeah. You can't use your own logic.
Exactly. You can't be like, oh, I'm going to try and think like him. It has to be something he's already done.
Yes.
Yeah. Otherwise, it doesn't work. Inside Skunk is like a little charcuterie board. It's with like cubed cheese and meat.
It's like old hot dogs.
Yeah. And Neil's like, what do you guys want? Money? And they're like, no, we don't want money. And then Maurice is like, here's a book draft called Lights Out Lenny. And he's like, Skunk, my brother, has a creative gift. He wants to be a writer. Neil, you're going to help him be a writer and not end up like Maurice, who stole an elephant once.
Sure.
And then Maurice says, you're going to fix the book.
Here's his
you're
book.
Not leaving.
Fix it. And once it's fixed, you can leave.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's going to take like months.
Guess you better start fixing. Out in the car, Maurice and Skunk are watching a movie, like a drive-in movie, and they're really into it. And then Neil starts work on the book, and I guess he's not handcuffed anymore.
Yeah, this is so dumb. They are just like let free inside of this.
Yeah, and it's because they barred up the door. So they can't leave, I guess. So they can't break a window.
And I know their phones got stolen and everything, but still, this is so dumb.
They're just free roaming. And Melissa's
they're really not that scared.
Yeah, Melissa admits that she's read the Trip Zoom books. And so that we're like, oh, we're starting to build a bridge here. Melissa wants to come up with a plan, and Neil's like, that would be silly. And she's like, oh yeah, how could I ever come up with something good enough for Trip Zoom? That's what it always comes down to. You care more about Trip Zoom than your own daughter.
Yeah, the dad's like, no, I don't. But like,
and she goes, how come you've never written about me?
This is dumb.
So stupid. She thinks the way he will express love for her is writing about her.
That's the only way to express love.
For Neil Morris, it is.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe this guy's kind of an asshole.
It's just like their
should have stayed a dentist.
Their father-daughter problems started with, hey, you're not paying enough attention to me. We're supposed to be going camping, to you never write about me in your books. And it's a weird shift.
Yeah.
They should have focused on the, hey, why don't you spend time with me thing more.
Yeah.
But whatever. And so she goes, how come you've never written about me? And Neil goes, you?
But you're so...
Come on. Characters are dynamic and larger than life. They're capable of extraordinary things.
Like, saying that your daughter is not dynamic, not larger than life, not capable of extraordinary things. Father of the Year award.
Father of the Year. He says Trip has 3 advanced degrees. He knows science. He speaks different languages. And Melissa's like, okay, what about me? What am I like? And the way he's saying these things is like, Trip has degrees and speaks languages. This is a character you made up. You decided those things.
Yeah.
It's not
like he actually got those.
Yeah, he's a made-up character. This is so weird. This is weird.
It's weird.
And Melissa says, do you realize you've missed all my dance recitals or when I won a creative writing award? And he's like, oh my God, creative writing. That's amazing. And she's like, 2 years in a row, Dad.
2 years in a row.
And that's like the one thing he's like, oh my God, that's crazy. Like the dance recitals, of course he was going to miss those. But creative writing, that's his thing.
That's my thing. Oh my God.
Oh my God. He's like, she says, just own it. Trip comes first. Oh, forget it. Sorry I brought it up. So that was their big fight.
I don't like their dynamic, and I feel like it's explored poorly and resolved poorly and established poorly. Yep. We don't need to dwell too much time. It's just bad.
It's bad. Outside, there's some police sirens, and Maurice and Skunk make a run for it. But we learn the sirens is just the three boys. They're fake sirening. And
he accidentally placed some farm animals.
Yeah.
And they go moo. And they were like, oh my God, they brought the animals.
Oh my God. And so like, we gotta run. And on the way out, Melissa grabs a Zoom book.
This is important for reasons.
The fake sirens is called Stake Out, Fake Out. Simple but effective.
They had to do something that Zoom did.
Yeah. So they all drive off and Skunk asks Neil what he thinks of his book. And Neil's like, well, it sucks, but it's salvageable. And Melissa's like, no, it's too bad. It's bad. And she gives some good writing advice. And her dad kind of start bonding over it.
Oh my God, you can be a creative writer 2 years in a row?
Crazy. And then Maurice makes him work on it while they're in the van. So then while tailing, Sheldon does a little rap. I don't remember what he says. He's like, we're going.
You really got us all started up.
We do. I don't remember. I'm sorry. Watch the movie. Or don't. Neil gives some more writing advice, and then they hit some wood in the road, and Maurice sees the van behind them, and he turns off into the woods trying to lose them, and then Skunk opens up the back, and he's throwing uniforms at the car, which is super dangerous. He's trying to kill these kids.
Yeah.
And then he throws a whole, like, metal rack, and the kids' van veers off, and then they get stuck in the mud. And Maurice and Skunk get away, and the kids just start walking.
Yeah, they're like, well, shit, we're done.
We gotta walk.
You know that famous thing Trip Zoom did? Walk. We can do it.
We can do it. And Skunk asks Niels if he was Zoom enough, and Niels like, you're fucking crazy.
I'm being abducted right now, and I like 10% of the time will realize it.
And then Maurice is like, oh, we're almost out of gas. And Melissa's like, I gotta go to the bathroom.
Yeah, and she doesn't even have to go to the bathroom. She's just coming up with a plan.
She never goes to the bathroom. I feel like I would have tried to come up with a plan and also gone to the bathroom, personally. Yeah,
but she comes up with an idea. She's like, I gotta be the Trip Zoom where it happens. Yeah.
It's not a Hamilton.
Yes.
At the gas station, Melissa puts on a white coat from the truck, and she's like, what? I'm cold. She just like figures that this is gonna help, which it does. So she's smart. She goes into the bathroom, and it's pretty gross in the bathroom. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, public bathroom available at midnight.
Yeah. Skunk tries to make her hurry, and she's like, "Let me do my business." And then Trip shows up, and
remember, not real Trip, fake Trip in a brain.
And sometimes they show like the angle where he's not really there, just to further show that he's not real, which is unnecessary, but whatever. He's like,
I guess when you have commercial breaks and stuff, they want to establish it every time in case someone's tuning in partway through.
I guess. He's like, I'm in your head because you keep me there. And Melissa's like, if you're in my head, then I am thinking like you. And then she pulls out...
Such a dumb logic, because you're thinking of a fictional character like a fictional character. Or maybe you're just thinking how he would think, not actually thinking how he would think. I know I said that backwards, but the emphasis was supposed to be on different words.
Say it again.
She's just thinking how she thinks he would think, not how he would think.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay.
Case closed.
Case closed. And then she pulls out the Trip Zoom book and she rips out a page. And then she takes out her lip gloss and she circles the word presidential. And we had a really great...
just write
word. We had a really great point of why didn't she just write a message with the lip gloss?
It would have taken no extra time.
It's like a red, pinkish red lip gloss. She could have taken a blank page and said, hey, help. This is where we're going. Even though she doesn't even know where they're going.
The script needs to be tighter. The script, because she's like, I'm going to influence them. And they're going to go back to the hotel where there's a bunch of public people there because I said so.
Because I said so. And then she leaves it on the bathroom mirror. And then Maurice is on the phone again. Wonder who that was. I guess we'll find out later. Melissa leaves the bathroom and she leaves a giant trail of toilet paper.
Which
and then
somehow Skunk doesn't see and then drops her jacket.
Yeah, she takes off the coat and she's like, what? I'm hot now. And she just drops it on the road and he lets it happen.
But Skunk is dumb, so.
That's true. On the road, it's bumpy and Melissa's like, we need a real place to write. It's too bumpy to work here. And Maurice is like, she's right. I guess we'll go back to the hotel.
Oh my god, she got what she wanted. There actually is a reason for this one. This one isn't a plot
But
hole.
Melissa didn't know that was going to work. What if she
Why did she assume this would work?
She circled presidential to try and lead them back to their hotel room when, like, that could have very well not worked. Yeah, what if they went somewhere she had no idea where they were going and then the kids end up at the presidential suite for no help at all?
Yeah.
It's fucking stupid. So then the kids roll up to the gas station and they see the lip gloss and they're like, oh my gosh, it's the strawberry lip gloss that I smelled earlier. They could have just assumed that it was her without having the lip gloss.
Considering it was toilet paper leading to a bathroom, inside the bathroom.
A Trip Zoom
page.
Oh, I don't know. That could have been anyone.
Nope. It smells like watermelon.
Like the fact that it's a Trip Zoom page is enough.
Yeah. Whatever.
And Sheldon's like, okay, presidential. Maybe it's for a pickle farm.
He really thinks it's a pickle farm.
Yeah, it's not.
What a loser.
Andre's like, no, they're staying in the presidential suite. I heard when they checked in. So they're like, oh, okay, cool. Let's go back to the hotel. So then they make it back to the hotel. Well, it's Neil and Melissa and Skunk and Maurice. And we learn, oh my god, Merv, the hotel owner, is in on the whole thing.
What?
Dun, dun, dun. So Maurice and Skunk work for him. Melissa's like, but you helped me before. You drove me around. And he's like, you were leading them right to your dad.
Haha, get wrecked.
So that explains it.
Yeah.
Which I wasn't even going to be that nitpicky before.
They explained plot holes that honestly didn't need to.
That I didn't actually care about because I don't care about this movie.
And they've left a lot of plot holes that I do care about.
Yeah. If this was a better movie, then maybe I would have cared about the plot hole, but I didn't. No. Anyway. Merv just also cares about having this book finished. So they're really not asking for money. They're asking for this book to be finished.
Yeah.
Which I guess they'll sell for money. Maurice and Skunk take Melissa and Neil up to a very funky room. It's much nicer than the presidential suite. And then Melissa asks Skunk, why are you making us do this? And Skunk's like, no, I just want my book to be published. Like, yeah. I'm a nice guy.
Yeah. I'm like the good bad guy that's sympathetic.
Yeah, oh. I just want my book to be good. And then we get...
It's a stupid plot.
Yeah. And we get a short little scene of the three boys.
They ordered a pizza. And then they asked the pizza driver to drive them. Which is honestly pretty fun.
Because they did pay for the pizza.
And you know what? I don't know if Trip Zoom ever did that.
Yeah. No, it's pretty smart. Of like, you go to Domino's and you're like, hey, I just ordered a pizza for delivery. Can you drive me the place that I ordered for? They're just eating the pizza.
Yeah. It's pretty fun. I like that. I like that concept.
It's like the one good idea they have in the whole movie. So then Neil and Melissa work on the book some more, and Neil is tied to a chair, but Melissa is just completely free to roam.
They always have Neil tied up and Melissa like free, and it's because I guess they underestimate her, but also
do they think like, oh, she's not going to leave her dad? or something.
I don't know. It's dumb.
It is dumb. Skunk pitches more of his book, and Neil and Melissa give him more advice, and Skunk starts to write a little bit better.
Oh my god, he can actually not do run-on sentences.
Yeah, and then Neil tells Melissa that she's pretty amazing.
Oh my god. You're pretty cool.
You're pretty cool. Wow, my daughter, who I neglected forever, is actually pretty cool. Next day, the convention's still going strong. Hotel guy, Merv, he gets gooped by some goop.
Classic. Yeah, Merv just randomly gets goop on him. It's not even relevant to any plot point.
It's just in case you forgot.
This is the goop movie.
It's a goop movie. Here's some goop.
We're not even halfway through the goops.
There's no reason for him to be gooped there. He just got gooped. Apparently goop is quintessential. Is that the right word? Quintessential for the Trip Zoom books.
That would make more sense.
It's very goopy.
It's very goopy.
If you get the book at the Scholastic Book Fair, it comes with some goop.
It comes free with a book splat trip trap.
Okay, so he answered the phone or whatever. Now is when the pizza rolls up. The pizza delivery. Mm-hmm. It's morning. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's dumb.
They were not that far away. Or were they?
Maybe they walked for a while before ordering.
Maybe they were 6 hours away.
Which, good on the pizza delivery guy for going that far.
Yeah, there's no fucking way. It makes no sense. So then, whatever. Upstairs, Maurice and Skunk are sleeping. Melissa grabs a Zoom book and she sees Zoom, Trip Zoom talking again. And she's like, I hope the fans like my idea. It is a good plan, right? And she's like, I know asking you is just asking myself, but...
Because you are part of me, Trip Zoom.
Hey, just another brush with danger. Floss!
Floss!
That's his catchphrase, is another brush with danger. Floss. It's a good one.
No, it's not.
The three kids make it up to the presidential suite, but there's no clues in there.
Like, where are they?
And they're like, we have to figure out where they are. Oh my god. Wait, guys, remember the climax of the book? The signal of strength.
Oh, that's so obvious.
Oh my god. She's going to make a signal of strength. She's brilliant. Nothing that she did is pointing them. No, other than like maybe it was the book that she ripped the page out. The climax of that book was a signal of strength, maybe? They don't specify this. They're just like, oh, she must have thought of this because she's brilliant. This was her idea that she clearly spelled out for us. Maybe she should have circled fucking signal of strength then instead of presidential, which led them nowhere.
Yeah.
They are at the hotel, though, so I guess it helped with that. This movie's stupid.
Yeah.
And Andre's like, dude, if you don't ask her out, I will.
No, you won't, Andre.
You won't. All we gotta do is find the signal. Let's get some help. So then they go to the convention, and the nerds are arguing about Zoom lore and being Zoom enough. And then Wheeze has to get their attention, so Andre whistles, and they listen, and they go, Neil's in trouble.
He's like, I got good news and bad news.
Good news is we're gonna save him. Floss. What was the bad news?
That he's in trouble.
He's in trouble. Good news is we're gonna save him. Floss.
And everyone's floss. And everyone, rather than, storming the police station to get a professional on this job, they decide we're just gonna take all of our fandom like goodies and traps and stuff.
Yeah.
And use those non-lethal weapons to try and stop an act of kidnapping.
I mean, when you have hundreds of kids doing it, it is pretty effective, not gonna lie. Okay. Merv is like, just when I need clever kids. So then the dumb pop song plays again. It's the one from the beginning of the movie, who we think is Emily Osment singing. We have no verification on this. It's a stupid pop song. And we get a montage of the kids getting ready for the big plan. They gotta prep all the goop. And they all have ponchos, like the waterproof rain ponchos.
Yeah, good for them, because they don't want to get gooped.
They are prepared. And they have water guns of goop. And Melissa puts a blanket on her sleeping dad, and we see more goop prep. All right. And then Melissa, her dad, wakes up, and she tells them about the signal strength plan, because she also thought of it. They were right. She thought of it. He says, do you really think it'll work? And Melissa's like, I don't know. I still have to figure out how to give the signal.
So dumb.
She doesn't even know how she's going to do that yet. But she's like, like Trip says, if you don't even try, you'll just wonder why. And he goes,
Dad's like, that's you.
You know who said that first? You did when you were 8. It was so smart and innocent. As soon as you said it, I knew. That's how Trip thinks.
And that's when your mother and I, it's all started going wrong.
He says, where do you think he comes from? A writer is only as good as his own experiences. When you were born, so was Trip Zoom.
Okay, pause. You can't argue this and then also not be able to name a single interest of your daughters when pressed.
And when she said, why don't you write about me? He's like, well, you're not interesting.
This is so dumb. This is so badly done.
Melissa's like, I'm in your books. And he goes, you're everywhere. The plot, the humor, you're the heart. You're my heart. You're the reason I write, Melissa. Okay, I think he slept on it and said, I'm just going to tell her that it's about her.
Yeah. He's like, how the fuck do I get out of this? I've been such a bad dad.
He is a writer. He's just like, I'll just say that she's my inspiration and that'll fix it.
I like the lying better. That it makes it better.
Yeah.
He should have lied from the beginning.
He says, you're the reason I write, Melissa. Quote, I'd give it all up tomorrow if it meant losing you.
Break that down slowly for us.
I would give it up tomorrow if it meant I would lose you. Because what he meant to say was like, if I would rather give it up tomorrow than lose you. Or
yeah,
I'd rather give it up tomorrow
if it meant saving you.
Yeah, saving you or not losing you. Like, he fucked up that line. Either that or the writing fucked up. I think the actor just fucked up and no one in editing
caught it.
Nobody caught it.
It's crazy.
They probably did multiple takes.
And that's like the emotional climax of the movie, and they messed it up.
I'd give it all up tomorrow if it meant losing you. I'm fucking sick of you.
It's so bad.
I would give up my books and lose my daughter at the same time.
Yeah. If I could mess both of my lives up, I would.
I wrote, Melissa is floored. I would be too. This came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Ugh. We're almost done, guys. We're almost done. So then Merv comes up to the room and he's like, we need that book soon with the fire brewing outside. And Melissa's like,
yeah, they're really trying to pressure this guy to write a book.
Yeah.
In like
to like rewrite
hours.
Skunk's book. Yeah. And Melissa's like, why do you care what Skunk writes? And he's like, you know what? I don't care what Skunk writes. I care about what Neil rewrites.
Yeah, I just kind of like recruited them for the labor.
Yeah. He's like, I just care what Neil rewrites.
And Skunk's like, what the fuck?
I'm so
what
sad.
What the hell, man?
And he's like, did you actually think I give a hint of a hoot about your writing? Idiot. I just want to publish one of Neil Moore's books for money for this hotel or something.
Yeah, they showed earlier like a diagram of a painting of his dream of making a hotel called the Merv. That's like fancy.
Stupid. They like don't dive into this at all. And then he says, and it's going to be the last Neil Moore's book, implying that he's going to kill him.
Yeah. Which seems like hard to get away with considering how sloppy everything has been.
True.
There's at least 3 kids that can testify against a Skunk and
Maurice, and they're going to give up Merv immediately.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't care about
this
Skunk's
is a
writing.
bad plan in general.
It is. I don't get why I guess Maurice and Skunk did all the dirty work. I was about to say, like, why did he need Skunk and stuff? Like, the whole point is that he's rewriting Skunk's book, which is stupid. He could have just written any book.
Yeah.
Also, does he think this book is going to be good just because Neil Morris wrote it? It's not a Trip Zoom book.
I think he's just like he says, I don't think he cares about the quality of it.
He just wants to be the last
one because it'll be worth money for that.
Yeah.
But that's still kind of a stupid plan.
Will they actually believe that it's Neil Morris who wrote it?
Yeah, that's a good point. Why I feel like people would think it's fake if he's dead.
This plan is very dumb and wouldn't work. So then Trip Zoom comes into Melissa's mind and is like, oh my God, that would mean that it's the last of me.
Oh my God, I would die.
And then he's like, oh, not the time. Okay. And then Merv threatens Melissa's safety to make Neil right. And Maurice and Skunk are like, I don't know about this.
This seems like worse than what we were doing, even though they're just basically the same thing.
It's basically
just a death threat when it was just an implied death threat earlier.
Yeah. And Merv's like, well, you're going to do what I say. Otherwise, you're going to go to jail. Because you're a part of this.
Yeah, it's like 5 years minimum for aiding and abetting kidnapping. So
yeah, they actually did the kidnapping.
Yeah, too, so. They're guilty as hell.
Guilty. And Neil's like, I'll do what you want, just don't hurt my daughter. And outside, all the kids are looking for the signal. Melissa gets trapped in the bathroom. And she's like, what would Trip do? And then she rips off the shower curtain and grabs some stuff from the medicine cabinet. And then Neil writes while Merv is like, come on, write, I want money.
Yeah, what a turn for Merv.
And then Melissa made a Z on the shower curtain.
And she hangs it out the window.
She hangs it. And Maurice and Skunk are like, man, I didn't want to be this evil. We just wanted Skunk to write. And then the nerds see the signal and they go, move. Floss.
Everyone but Sheldon. Sheldon's on top of the building that she's in. So he's always just like, wait, where was the signal? And everyone else is going floss. And somehow he doesn't notice they're all surrounding his building.
Yeah, I don't know. Floss, 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 floss. Angry mob marches down the street. Melissa looks out the window and they have a catapult. And they go, let's flush him out. And Trip tells Melissa that she is Zoom enough.
Oh my God, you hung a banner outside.
Because it's her plan to do the signal, even though she never communicated that. And then the mob launches a bunch of goop into the open hotel room window. And Merv looks out the window and gets gooped in the face. And he does not move.
What aim?
True. But he just sits there in the open window and lets all of the goop hit him.
Yep. Goop, 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 goop,
goop, goop, goop, goop, goop.
I believe there are 9 total goops in this movie.
And then they also throw toilet paper. And Merv's like, all right, let's go. After he gets gooped. And he's like, grab Neil and the girl. So they head down the stairs and out the door. And so much more goop happens.
The whole scene is just... They run with the hostages, and then they get gooped, and then they run with the hostages, and they get gooped.
And somehow Melissa didn't get that gooped.
No, it's only over Merv that gets gooped.
Yeah. And then Melissa yells, floss, and she runs away, but Neil is still captured. And then Melissa does a little slip, slap, trip, trap, and she makes the stairs all slippery for Maurice and Skunk.
Slip, slap, trip, trap.
That's what she calls it.
Yeah.
Slip, slap, trip,
trap.
They
love fucking trip, trap.
What was the book?
Book splat, trip trap. Y'all, tag yourself. Are you a book splat trip trap or are you a slip slap trip trap?
I think I'm a slip slap trip trap personally. And then she comes back down and she sees the 3 boys and Wheeze is like, nice signal of strength. And then she's like, yeah, it's waxed or mint floss because they're going to tie up Skunk and Maurice. Because Maurice and Skunk got slip, slap, trip, trapped, and they fell down the stairs. And so they tie him up and they leave. And I guess Melissa and Wheeze like held hands on the way out.
Yeah, they like took each other's hands to run down the stairs because Andre's like, oh my God, they're in love.
I would be so much more into this if like seeing David Henry and Emily Osment in like a movie as love interest if the movie didn't suck so
it really drags it all down.
Yeah.
But you're probably wondering when thinking about this, wait, we haven't talked about, the main kidnapping target and the main kidnapper in a bit.
Yeah, so on the roof, Sheldon finally spots Merv and Neil and he yells, charge! And all he does is say charge, and somehow around the corner a bunch of kids come. Yeah. And they
Merv almost got away with Neil to just drive off to a new location and continue the kidnapping.
And threaten to kill him, yeah.
And I guess the police department would still say, no, we're not going to do anything. So it would have worked.
Because it hasn't been 48 hours.
Yeah.
So I wrote so much goop. Melissa shows up. Yeah, so all they do is the kids come around and they just goop him so they can't leave. And it actually is very effective. You said this wouldn't be that effective. It's a lot of goop. It would stop a kid. Unless he had a gun.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have a gun, so it's all right. All right, Melissa says, give it up, Merv. And then Merv tries to make a run for it, and he gets chased. And Maurice and Skunk hop around the corner. They're all wrapped in floss, and they're like, all right, spin. So that the floss
they set themselves up as a tripwire with the floss.
A little trip trap.
A floss trip trap.
Trippy trap.
Yeah.
Trap.
Oh, good bars.
So yeah, they get a trip rope kind of out of floss. The floss is way thicker than normal floss. It is like an actual rope. Floss is not that thick. It would not stop.
It would just break.
Guy. It would break.
But instead he trips and falls into goop.
It's some, like, very garbage. It's like
icky.
It's like if you put garbage in a blender. It's so gross.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it. It was icky.
And the cops roll up.
Oh, they do exist.
Maurice says, floss.
And
everyone cheers. And Melissa asks Neil if he's okay. And he's like, I'm the best I've ever been.
No, he's not. You just got kidnapped.
Now we're back at the convention. We're in the conclusion, guys. Neil's on stage. He's like, I have 2 announcements. Due to your trip-tastic actions, everyone here is going to get an autographed book.
Yay!
Now to the Zoom prize. The winners are Andre, Sheldon, and Weez.
Yes. Like, I know they were a big part in saving the whole thing, but it also wouldn't have happened if they didn't start by kidnapping him.
But he was cool with that.
Yeah, but it's so dumb.
It would have been worse, actually, because I think Maurice and Skunk would have kidnapped him anyway, and then nobody would have been there to help. Definitely not the cops. Could have
just gone on the camping trip.
That's true. They should have just gone on the camping trip. All right. Trip says good job to Melissa.
She's like, you're the real one. You're the real hero here.
Yeah. And she says, I couldn't have done this without you. And Trip's like, but you did. I'm the who your dad writes about, but you're the why.
Shut up.
Don't forget it. And remember, this is just a trip in her mind. She's buying the lies that her dad is telling her.
Yep.
Yeah. And then Neil says, without Melissa, we wouldn't be here. She's my inspiration. Give it up for my daughter, Melissa.
Basically what Trip just said.
Yep. And then she looks over and Trip is just a cutout again. So he's gone from her mind.
She's healed.
She's healed. And she goes and hugs her dad in slow motion.
Floss.
Skunk and Maurice are getting arrested, but somehow they were allowed in the convention to watch, and then they get arrested.
Yeah. And Skunk's just like, hey, Dostoevsky wrote like some of his best work in jail, so he'll be fine.
And Maurice is like, that was clever. And they leave. Okay, so now they're leaving the convention. A kid asked Neil, like, can you just stay another day? And he goes, sorry to get rescued and run, but my daughter and I have a vacation to salvage.
Yeah, I think it's beyond that.
Yeah. And then Weez gives Melissa his phone number, and then he
How far away are they living? Because it was...
they were able to drive there within a day.
I guess.
It's probably just a few hours. It's probably not that bad. And then he awkwardly asks her out, and she says, okay, but promise it'll be a normal date. And he goes, I promise. Yay. And then they drive away. Floss. And
that's the movie.
That's the movie. And in the credits, just in case you were wondering what parts are goop, or like, hey, I really like the goops, I would love to see a montage of the goops.
It's just a montage of 6 of the goops. It's not even all of the goops.
It's most of the goops.
It's most of the goops.
You just see them in the credits.
Yep.
They just play the goops again. Out of context.
Yep.
And it's not funny.
No.
And they act like it is.
And again, that's just, I guess we're not the target for that. This movie blows.
This movie sucks. It's so poorly written. The plot is horrible and uninteresting. And it's such a bummer because they had such a stacked cast.
For a movie about being a good writer, you have to have your script be good. Especially when you're trying to teach writing lessons.
Yeah.
It's a terrible one to take.
The premise is just bad.
Okay, I think the premise is salvageable, but it's not great or groundbreaking. I don't think the premise is really the issue. I think it's just the execution of making a script on it.
I think just this cast deserved better for their one big DCOM. Like, this is like the most Disney Channel stars in a DCOM, I think, that's not based on a show.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Which is insane.
This is like right in the middle of a stride era. Well, maybe not full stride. This was some peaks and valleys of like DCOMs that were coming out around this time too.
So, final Jank House ranking of this movie was 109 out of 115.
So very bad.
Very bad. You have it at 112, and I have it at 104. So
I feel like I don't want to say, oh, I would move it up because the movie fucking sucks.
I have it in F tier. It belongs in
F tier. I don't know if it belongs solo, but like, there's not much from this movie I take positive.
I feel like I'm maybe a little harsh on it, but it is not fun. I feel like they wasted their potential with this cast so much.
Yeah. It's something where it's less obviously bad to recount about than some of the other stuff that are down there where it's just either boring or offensive.
Yeah. At least like Frenemies is so batshit crazy that it's kind of fun to watch.
Like Frenemies is more interesting. There's more going on, even though it's probably even worsely made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not good. I never watched this as a kid and I wasn't missing anything. I am worse off to have watched this movie.
But that's Dadnapped.
That's Dadnapped. If you have thoughts about Dadnapped, let us know.
Email us, the DCOM duo at gmail.com. Follow the TikToks, follow the YouTube shorts, follow anywhere else. Have a good day.
Yeah. Now we gotta figure out what we're gonna watch next. Hopefully it's better than Dadnapped.
Yeah.
Benji, what do you think it's gonna be?
I think it's gonna be 'Twas the Night.
Ooh. Christmas. I think it's going to be Cloud 9, and I'm going to prove to you that it is a good movie.
Okay.
Let's spin the wheel. Oh my god.
What?
It's High School Musical 2.
Oh boy.
Holy shit. Oh, are we even ready? Are we ready for this? What time is it?
It's our vacation.
This is wild. This is like a huge episode.
This is very important.
This is very important. It's also our first sequel. No, it's not. No. We did Halloween Town. Never mind. But like aside from Halloween Town.
Okay. High School Musical 2.
High School Musical 2.
We have thoughts.
We have so many thoughts. I would not be surprised if this episode is going to be like 4 hours. There is so much to say about High School Musical 2, and it is such a cultural phenomenon. Oh my god. I can't believe that this is happening.
Tune in next time.
Tune in 2 weeks to talk about High School Musical 2.
Damn.
Oh my god.
We're going to have to find time on the calendar for this.
We're going to have to schedule a lot of... We're going to have to put aside time. Watching the movie is going to take 4 hours. Recording is going to take 4 hours. It's going to be big. It's going to be huge.
It's a big deal.
Oh my god. All right. Thank you guys for listening. Look forward to High School Musical 2. Goodbye.
Scenes from our next episode.
What time is it?
Summertime.
It's our vacation.
Okay. Just get prepared for like a 30-minute rant about a couple of lyrics from Work This Out because I can't stop thinking about them.
Try. Listen. What about us? What about everything we've been through?
So Chad and Ryan are together, right?
They're dating.
Yeah. Why are they hiding that from us?
Bet on it, bet on it, bet on it, bet on it.
Fabulous.
I want fabulous. Iced tea imported from Turkey. Where is it? Towels. Towels imported from Turkey. And Turkey imported from me.
Oh my god, is that the dad from Eddie's $1 Million Cook-Off?
Yes. I got lemon.
We're actually going to watch Eddie's $1 Million Cook-Off instead.
Fucking fooled ya.